Greetings, everyone. Most welcome. It's a pleasure to have you again today as we continue our reading and our study. As usual, we meet every Thursday to read the philosophy and ideology by Kwame Nkrumah called Conscientism. So feel most welcome, everybody. Let's just say hi. Hope you everybody's okay. And mute yourself, maybe tell us if you're okay.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Hi, Sister Tapa. I see you're on.
Yes, I am. How are you?
Oh, fine. Thank you. It's good to see at least 5 of us are on. But before we know it, it'll be 15. So there we go.
Sister Tapua, how are you? Hello, Sister Tapua. How are you?
Greetings, everyone.
Yeah, Sister Tapua. Sister Tapua. Greeting, sister. Greeting, brother Raspala.
Hey,
Greetings,
son of the league.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm still good, my leader. How are you?
I'm equally fine, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, greetings, comrade SH. Can you remind me your name again? It is WHK.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yes. My
I
name
always,
is
yes.
Venduk.
Oh, Sir Banduk. we Kenson, okay. Yeah, greetings, comrade. Sister Marlene is here. Sister Marlene is around.
Hey, Sister Marlene. I can't believe you're here so early. Greetings.
Finally.
Yes, well done.
Yeah, it's been actually a pleasure that we've met some of you in these meetings. Like, okay, Sister Ida and Sister Marlene, I've known them for the last almost 3 years now, and either through this meeting. And we've been meeting frequently for the last almost 3 years. You are the only 2 sisters I found on the group. And when we started the second reading, you came over to the second reading. And now at least we now have more sisters coming in. We've not been having Sister Tapua, been having Sister Myra, we've been having Sister Shona, and Sister Shireen. There are so many sisters who have been now frequent, and that's really a big improvement because we were only 2 for longest time possible. But I think we've been also be so consistent, and that's what I like. No matter how many we have been, we've never failed to meet. We've never failed to meet for the last almost 3 to 4 years that I've known this class. Even most of the time we were only 5, and you could meet every day in Google. It was in Microsoft Teams. 5 of us for our
Brother Carrington.
Yes, but now,
we would meet.
And now we've carried the practice even to the second session when we started reading again. We've never missed, irrespective of how many people we are. We've been keeping on reading. So that really tells you that whatever we are studying is very important, and people find interest in it. That's why they don't leave when they're in. Of course, there have been people who have been coming once in a while and walk away. They don't have maybe enough time to critically understand what we read. But I appreciate that we have been consistent for all this long. And every day is like refreshing. You listen or you read a paragraph, you're like, no, I don't think if I really covered that in the last time. Like Sister Ida, I'm sure you come across a content in a paragraph and you're like, wow. I know you'll be waiting, Brother Carrington, to give his input, and you'll be like, wow, did I really hear that?
Yeah, because you know what? I can't get over the fact that one paragraph takes us 2 hours and we're still learning after 2 hours. It's like, what? So it's always interesting.
Yeah, thank you very much. That really shows you the intensity of what you're doing and the value of what you're doing. Because if some people can sit for, like now we've taken almost 1 year and almost 3 months, and we've only read 40 pages.
14.
40.
Now that's thank you. That's better than 14. But the slow pace that we go 40 would even believe you if you said that. So
Yeah,
okay,
that's
good.
also the intensity of what you're doing. So once again, permit me to appreciate your presence and your contributions, and I don't take it for granted actually, because committing on a weekly basis, and we now form almost like family. We've met several times that we've not met physically, but virtually we've met several times, and your relatives you meet physically.
That's true.
We meet almost every Thursday. That's more than how you meet
And
some of
Saturday, and Saturday.
and Saturday. So we've been a good team anyway. So welcome once again, and let's continue our reading today. We've been doing the Anaxagoras in the last paragraph, and it seems now we are getting deep to Socrates, because now Socrates is coming in after looking at Anaxagoras. Before Anaxagoras, you were looking at Anaximander. There was an Anaximander sometimes back here.
There was Thales,
So
Anaximander, Anaxagoras. There was another guy.
we
Yeah.
started we started chapter 1. How are you, Carrington? You look good in your camera.
Thank you very much, Brother Pigeon. How are you?
Niko salama. I'm only having some cold and common flu, but
Sorry about that.
yeah, I'm trying my best to be here.
Oh, Brother Carrington, you're a new man, a changed man. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah,
Hi.
we started with Thales and Berkeley. That's what we started with in chapter 1. Berkeley and Thales. Then chapter 2, now we came across now this other philosopher, Anaxagoras, Anaximander. There was someone, Descartes, or someone Descartes and someone like that.
No. He was contextual. He became part of the conversation because we are still at the Greek philosophers, and Descartes was French. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Descartes. Yeah, he's famous.
yeah, Descartes. So let's proceed today with what Socrates is giving us. But I think the bigger part of our previous reading has been focused on this egalitarianism. Now, Sister Ida knows egalitarianism.
I do. I remember it this
Yeah,
week.
we've been working on egalitarianism all this long. And let's hear what Socrates is giving in this. So who will do the reading for us? Brother Carrington, you will comment last so that Sister can come first and share her thinking. So you will
Oh
come
no.
last.
But let me greet Brother Simon while we're seeing him. Greetings, brother.
Yeah, Brother Simon is here. Brother Simon is actually coming from One Map Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Brother Carrington is coming from, of course, Africa Rising as well, and other organizations. Brother Simon, how is Zimbabwe?
Greetings. How are you, everybody?
Greetings.
Stuff it with
Okay, so who will read for us the paragraph? I've typed the two paragraphs to be read at once because they make a complete statement of the position.
Let me go.
Sister Ida, will you do it for us? Sister
Sorry,
Ida.
I was just going to have a look at it. Yes, I don't see why not.
Okay,
Let me try
please.
and make it a bit bigger for me.
Okay, please. I can make it bigger for you as well.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Socrates consequently made it his duty to destroy this form of the Protagorean maximum. His social aim in seeking this destruction was to restore the objectivity of society. Socrates, too, was a firm theoretical believer in egalitarianism. He exemplified this in his whole life by his unwavering concept of pomp, circumstance, and humbug. He has left us an underlying testimony of his egalitarian beliefs in his use of the slave boy in the Meno. In this Platonic dialogue, Socrates tries to prove the undiscriminate existence of the soul and the innateness of certain ideas of mathematics and ethics. In selecting a slave boy for the purpose of his proof, he showed that he held a belief in the common and equal nature of man. This belief activates Socrates' whole philosophy. He believed in the equal endowment of all with innate ideas, the equal ability of all to lead a good life. Knowledge, he said, was virtue, and knowledge, he further held, was innate. Learning being, in fact, a way of remembering what was always engraved upon the individual soul.
Already.
Shall I continue?
Yes, please continue.
Okay. Through in the Meno, Socrates put forward a fundamental egalitarianism. It would not be pretended that egalitarianism was to be found among the established facts of life. The reason for this disciplinary between truth and social fact was conceived by him in moral terms. If people were not conceited, yeah, if people were not conceited, mistaking their ignorance for knowledge, and if they reflected they would all be equally moral, both because virtue is knowledge and because they would fundamentally all have the same knowledge as suggested in the Meno. So that is our reading.
Thank you for the reading. I'm trying to look for the Swahili version. As usual, we'll be trying to entertain Swahili version, bit to help us also make this to the language some other people will understand.
Okay.
Because I'm sure we have Swahili people here. But meanwhile, you can still digest the reading. We'll do another reading if need be. But please take your time to digest the reading. Hope you are seeing the reading.
Please,
Yes,
can we
I think there was
scroll
a
down?
word that I thought, oh, what is this? And now I'm looking for it. I can't find it.
Can you check that?
Can we scroll down a bit, please?
Can I scroll down a bit?
Yeah, to the top of the passage.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Let me reduce the size so that it can fit the screen. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So please,
Yes,
can everybody take some time to reread that book slowly before we open up for people to share their thinking? I'm trying to check at the Swahili version. Are you seeing my Swahili version now?
No.
You're still seeing the English version?
Yes. Yeah. It's got a blue thing, like it's frozen.
It's frozen?
Well, it doesn't want to enlarge. It doesn't want to come. I see a blue and an arrow.
Okay.
On the screen.
I'm trying to. It's because I'm trying to move to the Swahili one. Let me check if I can get the Swahili one. I just want to do it very fast as possible. Brother Carrington.
Yes.
Hope you'll be helping me to try to locate the Swahili version.
Yeah.
No, I have it.
Yeah.
Just that there's something I was saying. Oh.
And I don't know if you've sent the Swahili version to the group. If you haven't, please forward to me.
Yeah, I'll forward to you the Swahili version. Hope you can see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Yeah, this is it. So let me read the Swahili version very fast, then we go back to English version as to give people time to go through it and understand what it says. So Swahili version says this: Socrates alifanya iwe jukumu lake. What I'm reading, let me highlight what I'm reading so that you can know where I'm reading. Sorry. Just give me a minute. I highlight what I'm reading. Okay. Basically, you can see what I'm reading. That the place I'm trying to highlight is what I'm trying to read. Let me leave it like that. So Socrates alifanya iwe jukumu lake kuharibu aina hii ya Protagorean maxim. Kusudi lake la kijamii katika kutafuta uharibifu huu lilikuwa kurejesha usawa wa jamii. Socrates pia alikuwa mwamini dhabiti wa nadharia katika egalitarianism ama usawa. Alionyesha hii katika maisha yake yote na dharau yake isiyo na wasiwasi kwa pombe, hali na hamba. Ametuachia ushuhuda usio wa kweli wa imani yake ya usawa katika matumizi yake ya kijana mtumwa huko Meno. Katika mazungumzo haya ya Plato, Socrates anajaribu kuthibitisha uwepo wa roho na ukweli wa mifano fulani ya hisabati na maadili. Katika kuchagua kijana wa mtumwa kwa madhumuni ya uthibitisho wake, alionyesha kwamba alishikilia imani katika hali ya kawaida na usawa ya mwanadamu. Imani hii inaamsha falsafa nzima ya Socrates. Aliamini katika uwezo sawa wa wote na maoni ndani. Uwezo sawa wa wote kuishi maisha mazuri. Ujuzi, alisema, ilikuwa fadhila na maarifa alishikilia zaidi. Alikuwa wa ndani akijifunza kuwa kwa kweli njia ya kukumbuka kile kilichoandikwa juu ya roho ya mtu binafsi. Ingawa katika Meno, Socrates aliweka mbele usawa wa jamii, hautatambuliwa kuwa usawa unapatikana kati ya ukweli uliowekwa wa maisha. Sababu ya utofauti huu kati ya ukweli na ukweli wa kijamii ilichukuliwa na yeye kwa hali ya maadili. Ikiwa watu hawakuwa na sifa, walikosea ujinga wao kwa maarifa, na ikiwa wangeonyesha, wote wangekuwa sawa na maadili, kwa sababu fadhila ni maarifa, na kwa sababu wote wangekuwa na maarifa sawa na yaliyopendekezwa katika Meno. That's the reading. So let me take it back to the screen, and I'll ask Brother Carrington to take us through the members present to share their comments. Ask them to share their comments, Brother Carrington. Their thinking, not comments. We share our thinking in the list you prefer.
Can I request to moderate the next one, not this one?
Okay, that was an impromptu, no problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So for 1 minute or two, I'll give it a minute. Please, all members present, take your time to read the paragraph I've highlighted here. As you do that, after 1 minute, I'll then call for members to start sharing their thinking. I had equally shared this and attach it in the direct inbox text that I shared to everybody else. But whoever feels is free to start sharing their thinking without taking a minute to read this, feel free to either raise your hand or unmute your mic to start sharing your comment. The menu referred in this text, I made sure that I found it and I shared a copy of the menu as well. We might one day have to look at it, but it was just an accompaniment to what I found was here. And I've started reading it. It's quite interesting, but I was not able to finish it. But it's a conversation of Socrates actually having conversation with this person called Meno. Meno is an individual in that book. So please take a minute to read the paragraph, and feel free to start sharing your thinking. After a minute time, I'll call the names for people to start sharing their thinking in line. What you do, you share your thinking in regards to this text. You've read it. What do you think about the text? Directly speak to the text. Then now we can open up again and start speaking how relevant it is to the continent, or how relevant is this to the current African status. So a minute, please. After a minute, I'll start calling the list. Just take a minute to read the text.
Please, can I ask, could we get a definition of Protagorean maxim? Protagorean maxim. That's it, yeah. Oh, I wondered if first Protagoras. Yeah, okay. All right.
Yes, any other question? Any other word that need to be defined or get the meaning before we start? Okay, now we can start. Now we can start, based that every member has been able to have a minute to read this. So let me go through my list. Top on my list is General Anunnaki. Raspala. Then we move to Sister Ida. Then the next person on my list will be, let me check, is Marlin, then Simon Chibi. Raspala. General. Raspala. Okay.
Man, yes, my brother, man. I want to let it go, man. Yeah, let it go, man.
Okay. Sister Ida.
Oh dear, that means it's me. Okay. Well, you've told us about this Mino, which I thought at first was a book, but you say it's a group of people.
It's a group of people. Meno is a character. In fact, the name of that article is called Meno. But when you start the conversation, it's like a question. I shared the PDF copy of this. Socrates is a character. Conversing with Meno is a character, and they're engaging in a question about the virtue. The book is written by Plato.
Okay.
So
Thank
Socrates,
you.
the title of that conversation is still called Meno, but here Meno is also a character in that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was slightly saddened that he chose a slave boy to put forward his ideas, in that it just shows that at the time they had no real beliefs that Africans had any sort of thoughts of their own. So it just shows how far all this goes back to. But I think it says that he wants to destroy Protagorean's theory or theorem or whatever it was, and that he was seeking to say that egalitarianism was something that everybody was in everybody, or everybody could use to either raise themselves up, or to know. To me, it sounds like he thinks that they know the difference between right and wrong, though it doesn't say anything about right and wrong, but that they can make their way in life and know their own beliefs. I think that's what he's stating via his egalitarian principles, that everybody is capable. Forward fundamentally. Yes, I think if I would leave it at that, he just believes that everybody has virtue and can distinguish a pathway to the difference between right and wrong, is what I would say. So
and you believe in his belief that everyone has equal rights and ability and equal endowment?
Yes, I think I do. I think that people might not fully understand how strong they are, but if they're encouraged to believe in themselves and that they can do things. So I think we had this discussion last week about some people believing that they should make the laws and the rules themselves. But you're asking me, do I believe in that everybody has the ability? Yes, I think everybody has the ability to do things.
Okay, there's a line I want you to comment on, probably, if you allow, where he says that knowledge, he said that he believed in the equal endowment of all with innate ideas, the equal ability of all to lead a good life. Knowledge, he said, was a virtue.
Can you just point out where you're
in the same paragraph?
Okay, he believed in the equality of endowment. Yeah.
That's what I'm reading. And he said that, and knowledge he further held was innate, learning being, in fact, a way of remembering what was already engraved upon the individual soul. What's your comment on that? What's your thinking on that?
My thinking is that it sounds very like some of the Christian doctrine, where at the breaking of the curtain or whatever, when it was cut in two, and then knowledge was engraved in people's hearts. So it's slightly a bit of the Christian doctrine.
So
but it's not that I think that makes people have the ability to. I think that only gives people the ability to know the difference between right and wrong. It's my way of thinking about that Christian doctrine. But egalitarianism sounds like it is more than that. It's about establishing your own way of life, because you already know. Well, it's true. Yeah, you already know the difference between right and wrong when you meet it. And also, sorry, I'm going on too long, but I think that people have the ability to do to move on from where they are in one spot to a higher spot, if that's what you're asking me.
Okay, thank you. I'll get back to you maybe later as we continue the thinking. But feel free to come back anytime you find something come up, and you're free to share any of your thinking with them. Let me get to Brother Simon, being an elder in this field for some time, you've seen so many things around. Can you share your thinking in regards to this paragraph and the aspect of what Socrates is trying to bring here?
And thank you so much. Yes, thank you, and greetings, everybody. Yeah, for me, I would say these are just the two different schools of thought. When you are looking at Socrates and Memo, there are two different schools of thought. When they are compiling, there are different ideas. But when we take the different schools of thought to put it to our perspective as Africans and how we continue living, because when you look at the memo, it says when you are learning, you are developing what is already in your mind, what your mind is all about. That's a school of thought. That whatever comes that you can learn have to be within you so that we develop it, which is normally what is embedded in our African culture. That is, people are growing. We have our culture that we grow in. That culture is embedded in us. Then a lot of things will come as you learn, you grow. You have to know a lot of things, the ethics, the norms of a society, so that as you continue, you are aware, you can now distinguish between the right and the good, the bad and the evil as you go. So that's where the Meno, which was the article name which was given, but that is also a school of thought that learning is continuously to not end, like what we are doing now. We are all learning. No one has the final answer of what is happening. But what we know that is we are developing from where we have acquired through formal learning, through informal learning, but we continue. But there are perspectives that also we base from our African perspective or African thinking as Africans, as we continue to move on, that everything that comes, you have to, the experience that you also experience and the knowledge that you have, you are building on that. Then as you go with learning, you can also distinguish between the good and the bad. That's when we are saying in our African society, our values as Africans, they are very good. Yes, it might be very unfortunate that when we went for formal learning or to schools, the learning that we have did not embed all the values of our African society, of our culture, of our ethics in it, so that there was a blended value, so that what comes first were not of ours, but we have to embrace it. Now that we are learning, we discover all this, we have also a choice as we go on to say from what was not ours, but it is still okay, and what was ours, which might not be okay, which one, so that we can make a decision as we go and get informed. That's my thinking from these two different schools of thought or two different characters in our reading, which have been put across so that we continue learning. Thank you for now.
Thank you, Elder Simon Chibi. Just to come up a bit, of course, we are looking at philosophy and society. And therefore, we are looking at this society. This might have been the Greek society. What is your thinking in regards to this line, Elder Simon, if you permit me, where you say that he believed in the common and equal nature of man?
Yes,
What?
that's exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly what I've said. When you are looking at man and the nature, because we are learning from experiences. When we are talking about our nature, there are two: the nature that we are in and the nature that we are nurtured to by our parents, our community. Because remember, in our African society, we believe a child is not nurtured by the parents only, but it's nurtured by the community in which you belong to. But that belief is mostly strong in our African ethics, African norms, African communities, but is not as strong as that in other communities outside the Africa. So also our nature, which is our natural environment, also has an influence on how we behave, how we interact, because we normally depend on nature for food. Remember, when as Africans, our parents, they are normally regarded as gatherers and hunters, so that they depend more on the nature, so that they have to study the nature, so that they can live on it, and the nature can also benefit them, so that they know this time of the year or this time of the month, they can go and gather this, and this is what is available within their nature. And as well as they are nurturing the child, they are also training them to know that they should also know what is available, what is ethics, so that the community is built, so that there is core relationship with our environment, which is the nature, and also the way we nurture our own children, our own community, so that they continue to depend on each other, and also they continue to develop their mind. Yes, the Greek, from that perspective, they were looking at everybody as equal, as a man, because they were not like discriminating the humans, but were saying as humans, we are all have similar or norms that we react to. Thank you.
So is every man equal?
Yes, every man is equal. That's from the perspective of the nature and also of God. But remember, when we are in the actual doing, there are others who are more equal than others in terms of our current societal setup and in terms of our current race discrimination and also our positions and whatever. We have created a situation where I will say you are more equal than me or you are less equal than me because of our positions or where we are. That is what we are now having. This is what is trying to be explained in this. But when we are starting, we are all equal as men, and our nature will also nurture us to go wherever we want.
Okay.
That's my thinking.
Thank you for sharing your thinking. Sister Tapua.
Yes. I'd like to comment on, I think it's part of the last paragraph where it reads, the reason for this discrepancy between truth and social fact was conceived by him in moral terms. If people were not conceited, mistaking their ignorance for knowledge, and if they reflect, they would all be equally moral, both because virtue is knowledge and because they would fundamentally all have the same knowledge as suggested in Meno. My comment here is, Socrates is saying, conceit, in other words, the feeling of I am better than everyone else, and them mistaking the knowledge that they value shows how ignorant they are. What I'm looking at is an example from an African context where the world looks at Africa and the African culture from a position of conceit, that they know it all, they know better. And Socrates is saying that's actually mistaking their ignorance for knowledge. In other words, they don't know what they don't know. And what they're saying is, because they have grouped certain information as knowledge, showing how ignorant they are. It reminds me of the Australian fire situation, where the Aborigines had a particular way of interacting with nature to try and preserve and put their existence in context within the natural Australian environment. The government there put a policy that actually stopped and ignored the Aborigines' way of life in terms of self-preservation. And they only started consulting them after the big disastrous fire. And the Aborigines then told them that this has happened because you did this. You're not respecting nature in this way. This is what we do to respect nature and to gain our own place in nature. So the Western people, the Europeans, get to Africa or anywhere else, and they start saying, for example, that we shouldn't be cooking in clay pots. That's being ignorant. We shouldn't be using dry pumpkin cups to drink. And yet they're bringing us back to that same level where they're saying the metal cups, the metal things that we manufacture are actually destroying our environment. We should go back to using anything that goes back into the soil when we've stopped using it. And that's going back to being African, to using thatch to roof our homes, to build a home that we only can live in for our existence. I mean, for the length of life that we have, instead of building the things that we have that destroy our environment, that destroys ourselves as we fight over these material things. So it saddens me that we as Africans have now been convinced that we don't know anything. And yet we know everything with the fountain of knowledge of how to relate and preserve the world as it should be. And yet here we are being told to use genetically modified things, being told to relegate our way of life, which connects us to nature. And yet these people, mistaking their ignorance for knowledge, fail to see us as equals and fail to see us as morally virtuous. That's my comment for now.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further interrogation or question in regards to that. Let me move to Sir WHK. Sir, there's somebody else hand up. Let me check who is that. Okay, I'm not seeing the hand up. Yeah, sir, please, it's your time.
It's my hand that is up.
And it's your time, please.
Yes. My sister who was just coming off now, she said most specifically the Europeans are mistaking their ignorance for knowledge. And they don't see us as equal. So what do we really stand to do to make them realize that, in fact, they are stricken by ignorance? And how would we help them for them to realize and shed off their ignorance and see us as equals in the long run?
Can I come in?
Yes,
Sure.
please.
Okay. My suggestion is we've got to hold on to our way of life, because it is our way of life that is going to demonstrate to them that we have the source of wisdom of how to exist on earth as equals. So, for example, right now in Europe, whilst they're trying to reinvent heating methods for their homes because of the cold, what are they resorting to? They're resorting to using clay. Part of the most expensive kitchen utensils that you can have are made from clay, but it's an improved version. It's a version that they told us to throw away. So, for example, it's safer to cook in a clay pot because then you don't get all this cancerous aluminium polluting your food. But what we need to do is find amongst ourselves people who will make it worthwhile and prestigious to design just a simple design of our gas hobs so that they hold the clay pot. And we continue to use that, because what happens is, as long as people who are celebrities are convinced to do something in a particular way, then the world will follow. We are not going to lead the world by not celebrating ourselves. We have to celebrate ourselves. I'll give you one example of something that's happening in Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans are caught in between the Western type of life and the European type of life. You can see from, for example, for how they construct the latest round huts. Our round huts that we were using as kitchens show how we get everyone equal around the fire. Everybody can make a contribution around the fire, men and women. We're trying to maintain that design, but we are now using metal sheeting roofs, metal sheets to create our roofs. But it's not working, because I've been in one of those. And because we're using fire in them, grass responds very well to either heat or cold. Grass will keep our homes cool, and in winter will keep our homes warm. These metal sheeting that they're putting on the roofs, when you get in there and you make your fire, what happens? The soot settles on the metal, and the contrast between the cold outside and the heat inside results in condensation, which drops back the soot into the homes, and it becomes a disaster. People can't stay in there. You're all spotty when you come out. So what I'm saying is, we've got to be confident Africans. We've got to look at what works. We live in this environment, and we can decide what works in our environment. I don't think I'm saying we should not adopt other things, but we should not copy wholesale what is not ours. Therefore, some of us who are academic, who've got a better standing in society, just come out and use the things. Then everybody else will say, oh, they're using the things. I've been in villages where if I say I want to eat a certain type of food, some people will say, oh, aren't you educated? People who are educated don't eat that type of food. And I'm going my way. How did we get to this? It's because of us, the educated ones, the ones who have bought into the Western life whole 100%, who should realize what we're doing, that we're leading the world in ignorance. We need to go back to knowledge. I'll stop there.
Thank you, Sister Tapua, and welcome, Brother Kwame. You'll take over once let me go to Sir WHK and then Brother Carrington as you come in, Brother Kwame, so that will be the rest of the part of the conversation. Sir WHK?
Yeah, hold on. Brother Pigeon, just let me inform Brother Gonza that he's half naked in the, I don't know, if that was his aim. He should have been informed that his camera is on. Yeah, all right, you can carry on, sir. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Can I start with the very first line of the paragraph? Socrates consequently made it his duty to destroy this form of the Protagorean maxim. His social aim in seeking this destruction was to restore the objectivity of the society. I have missed all the lectures. Maybe this is my third or second lecture that I am attending. But the maxim, the Protagorean maxim, what does it entail?
Brother Carrington, Brother Kwame, anybody who can explain further this?
Yeah, so So who is asking? Brother, who was speaking?
Venduk.
Who?
Venduk.
Yeah. So so Protagoras was a pre-Socratic Greek philosopher. So he lived before Socrates, and he coined the famous statement, which I think has been captured in this paragraph, that man is a measure of all things. And
okay,
so this phrase, man is a measure of all things, encapsulates what you might term his relativistic view of knowledge and truth. Basically, what he's saying is that there is no such thing as absolute truth, and that truth is subjective and depends on your individual perception, and that each person experiences the world differently. So what may be true or real for you may not be the same for another person. There is a common saying amongst Africans, I don't know whether it is also where you are, where you hear people say one man's meat is another man's poison. Is that kind of statement that what you see as meat, so you eat snake, so for you snake meat is delicious. Someone doesn't eat snake, so for him or her, snake is not a meat. You eat cow, and for you cow is delicious. It has to be roasted and it's nice. But for someone, cow is a god and should not be killed. So so in essence, human perception determines the reality of the world. So Protagoras' views were part of the broader debate among the sophists in ancient Greece. And you remember they emphasized rhetoric, argumentation, and the relativity of knowledge. And this statement also reflects Protagoras' focus on the human-centered nature of knowledge and inquiry. So you can, in terms of science, you can see it as the difference between those who think that the universe is independent of us, and therefore truth or knowledge is independent of man, and then those who believe that no, what is truth depends on what I am thinking. So I hope that helps, my brother.
Yeah, it does help to a certain extent. So he's trying to destroy that maxim and replace it with all men are equal. Shall I understand it that way?
Sorry, who is doing that?
Say Venduk.
No, I'm saying who is saying it should be all men are equal. Who are you saying is saying that?
Socrates.
Right.
He's
can you
trying
read
to destroy them.
Okay, can you read for us where he's saying that, so that we are with you?
So his social aim, second line, first paragraph. His social aim is seeking this destruction was to restore the objectivity of society.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to pick up.
Can I come in?
Satapua, can you hold on, please? Socrates made his duty to destroy this form of Protagoras maxim. So brother, what is your question?
Socrates consequently
yes, go on.
Made it his duty to destroy this form of the Protagorean maxim.
Yes.
His social aim in seeking this destruction was to restore the objectivity. So he was going to kill this maxim, destroy it, and replace it with the maxim that all men are equal.
But Protagoras is not saying that all men are not equal. That's not what he is. He's not saying that. And by the way, all men and women are equal. But that's not what Protagoras was saying. Satapua, can you please? So he's not saying that. Yeah, go on.
not necessarily equal, but in fact that they were made equal.
Okay. Can you hold on? Satapua
Men-
wants to contribute. Hold
Men
your thought.
cannot be
Yeah,
men
hold your thought.
and
Let's Satapua come in, and then you can continue. Thank you.
I think the word objectivity there holds the answer to what he's saying. The statement is his social aim in seeking this destruction was to restore the objectivity of society. In other words, Protagorean maxim had lost the objectivity of society. So we need to ask ourselves, what is the objectivity of society?
So
Because-
it's not just Satapua. So it's not just society that is objective. One can argue that society is not fully objective because society is made up of men and women who think and feel and interpret the world around them. Therefore, in that sense, the society of which we are a part is strictly not wholly objective, because we are creating it through our actions and inactions. But that is a different argument from whether the sun is objective. The sun, I mean SUN, or whether the moon is objective. So the moon and the sun are objective in the sense that whether we are here or not doesn't matter. Whether we disappear as human beings, it will not affect the sun. But if the sun disappears, we will also disappear. So our existence is dependent on the sun. So in that sense, objectivity, in that sense, there is. I'm not saying that human society is not objective. Human society is objective in the sense that if I take myself, I can see society, and in that sense, society is outside me. Does that make sense? The society of Zimbabweans are outside me. I am not part of that society. Therefore, in that sense, it is objective. It has rules, it has laws, it has morals, it has customs, it has language, and so on. So in that sense, it is objective. But if you are a Zimbabwean and you are part of Zimbabwean society, to some extent, it is objective to you because you can separate yourself from it. But you are also part of it. So it is both subjective and objective. What Protagoras is saying, and the problem with what Protagoras is saying, is that he is asserting what we had earlier discounted. Is Tamara here? Tamara is not here today. If you recall, we looked at solipsism. Do you remember solipsism? And so on. Where in fact the argument even was that the universe is me. I am the universe. Nobody else exists. And to see the universe in terms of only yourself, and it's as if nobody else exists, only you exist. That is what the maxim, if you like, led to. And in the West today, as you are aware, we have individualism. What is individualism? It's the idea that I exist, I can exist by myself. I don't need anyone to exist. In fact, others exist because of me, and so on and so forth. So what Socrates, if you like, is doing or is saying is that he wants to restore the objectivity of society, in the sense that you can't just reduce society as a whole of society in the same way as you can talk about your thoughts and say that the universe doesn't exist. It only exists because it is in my mind. You see, so you can't say society exists. Society doesn't exist. It only exists because my mind tells me it exists. But hold on, you were brought into the world by your parents. Your parents are part of society. Therefore, society is objective. So you can't just, if you like, reduce everything to subjectivity. I don't know if that helps. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, sir, are you having any more comments to make?
At the moment, I'm somewhere lost in the soup.
Okay, let me bring Brother Carrington. Maybe he can
you,
help
don't
us.
you.
So brother Windhoek,
Yes.
if you relate it to African society, yeah,
Yeah.
see it this way. Is there such a thing? Can we say that Africa, is a separate entity, separate from the West? That Africa is a continent and can be a country that stands on its own, that it is not the playground of the West. It is not the playground of Western elites. It's not the playground. It's not a plaything for foreigners, that you can't take over an entire, if you like, land of the Maasai people and turn it into some kind of playground where when you're on holiday, you come and shoot pictures as if they don't matter. You see, so that Africa is not an extension of the mind of Europeans or of Western people. Africa. So the question I'm trying to say, the way you can help yourself is to say, right, does Africa have its own objective existence? Does it? Or doesn't it?
Yes.
Now, if it does, then that is what
I want to come
paragraph,
in.
yeah, you can. But that is what the paragraph is asking you to if you like, if you want to relate it to our own current existence, that is how you can look at it. So the pigeon here did a presentation for us on the way in which the church, Brother Pigeon, what was the word when the church gave her that declaration?
The Doctrine of Discovery, Papal Bull of 1452.
Where it was as if Africans somehow don't exist, that they are some kind of extension of
It was called no man's land.
Yes, that we didn't exist. Basically, Africa did not have an objective existence. So Europeans can come here and share the land among themselves because you don't exist. I mean, who are you? Maybe you are part of the animal kingdom. Maybe you're animals. That kind of racist thinking that maybe we are even animals. We are not yet human. We are not qualified to be called humans.
Okay, Brother Kwame, it is interesting you come in because I wanted to go to Brother Carrington.
Yeah,
but I'd ask here, there was a line that says that he believed in the common and equal nature of man. And I ask, are we accepting the fact that all men are equal? Somebody say no, others are equal than others.
No, how can others be more equal than others? We are all equal in the sense that it's a philosophical argument. The philosophical argument is that if you look at the composition of the human being, you can break down the composition of every human being into how much percent is water, H2O, how much percent is nitrogen, how much percent is carbon, and so on. That you can break down man, and then you find that all human beings have these same proportions, that we all come from the same matter. It is in that sense that we are all equal. So if we are all equal in that sense, that means you need water to drink to live, and I also need water to drink to live. Why is your drinking the water more important than mine? I don't understand. Why is it that if we are all human beings and we should all sleep in nice houses, Why is it that somehow you think you should sleep in a nice house and I should not sleep in a nice house? Why is it that you think that you should, somehow you should have access to things that another human being that has the same nature as you should not have? So there is no, as far as you know, there is no philosophical justification for unfairness and for racism and for cheating and for stealing other people's things, because when you steal something from someone, you are depriving them of something that they need in order to also live just like you. I mean, what makes you think that somehow, what is the basis of superiority, human superiority? As far as we know, it is based on spurious philosophical and scientific grounds. There is no basis in science for the idea that one human being is superior to another.
Okay.
All human brains are the same. There is no the constitution of the human brain is the same, whether you are green, yellow, blue, whatever. The human brain is the same. So there is no basis in philosophy. The only basis that we know of is racist science. Some of it promoted by the Nazis.
Can I
Can I interject?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
The construct of the human brain is the same in all men, but the functionality
and women.
Yeah, men. I would refer to all
people.
Yeah, as men, I refer
women.
to people.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
So
Please,
the
hold on. Oh, hold on. You see, that language is sexist in the sense that when it was used in the past, it was used to refer to only the male species, the male as part of the human species. When in the past you see the word man being used, they did not include women, you see. So we make a conscious effort to, in language, to make it clear that we are, when we are referring to the human race or to humanity, that there are two parts of the humanity. There is a male part of humanity, and there is a female part of humanity. And this idea that if I say a man, I'm also referring to a woman, is today unacceptable.
Can I come in, please? Can I come in, please?
Yeah, but the gentleman was speaking. Let him continue, and then you can come in.
Yeah, please.
I just wanted to respond to
I
what
only
you're
just
saying.
interjected.
Yes, and I want to
Tapua,
say something with regards to that.
Sister Tapua,
Please.
Hold on. The gentleman was
sure.
Let him finish what he was saying. I only interjected.
Yes.
Hold on. I only interjected to say that
And I want to say
when we are
that
speaking, we must be explicit and show
Right.
equal respect, both male and
May
female.
I come in, please? Please.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. What we are facing here.
He's not the chair, so
he can't be the chair.
Right.
He can't tell you to go ahead.
I'm out. I'm out. It's okay.
No, you don't have to go out.
You're
I'm
the
just,
chair.
No, it's okay.
Sister
No,
Tapua,
it's okay.
it's not okay. It's not okay. Sister Tapua, are you there? I was going to say it's a pleasure seeing you because I haven't seen you for a long time. So it's good to have you back. Anyway, Satapua, continue. So brother Whitworth has given way, so continue. Go on.
Thank you. Right. I just want to come back to a linguistic point here. I'm African. In my African language, for example, we don't have words that distinguish men from women explicitly. Munu, Ubuntu, Munu is a person. What we're facing here is a language that originates from people who are sexist, who are racist. And therefore, we just need to understand that some of the words that we are using, We're trying to think with our African minds using a language whose basis is racist. And therefore, we need to find a way of going around this. Because I remember saying to some people that we don't have, in my native language, we don't have the distinction between men and women, him and her. We don't have those words because a person is a person. And we've got a way of referring to them. Now that we found ourselves in this situation where we have to use words that we're not quite grasping, then it becomes problematic. That's all I wanted to say, that let's keep on being African in how we think. And let's not be driven by the words that these guys use, that we are trying to use, that we're being forced to use to communicate with each other. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Brother Kwame.
Yeah, Setapoa, so Brother Pigeon, hold on. So Setapoa, that may be so. But you see, language, as you know, matters and matters a lot. And the use of language, we are told, we've been told that the language that is being used in the American politics, it's encouraging people to want to kill Trump. And so the argument is being made that the political class in America must tone down their language. So language matters, and if we are using the language of a foreign people because they came to our country and took us over and dominated us, then we have to be mindful of how we use that language, and that when we are talking and when we are saying something, or when they are saying something, we may all not be saying the same thing. And there are many examples, Sister Paul, as you know, from your part of the world, that our chiefs were signing documents, but that's not what they thought they were signing. But they signed them, only to find out they are signing away the land. On the question of the current, the current, I don't want to say fashion, but the current concern over sexuality, I agree with you. In my language, it's the same, Satapoa, as it is in yours. There is no language, there is no word in my language for him and her. Yeah, there's no, we don't even have it when we refer to a goat, or a cat. There is no word. You understand? So as Africans, we understand that. The European, the Western mind doesn't understand that. You see, it doesn't understand that. So for them, there is a male and there is female, and they are not the same in a patriarchal system. Sister Marlin, you have your hand up.
Yes, I was just saying that Socrates, what's his name? Socrates was Socrates is trying.
Sister Marlin, Socrates.
Socrates, yes. He is trying to say that we should restore society and bring it back to what it originally is meant to be, and not how it has been misinterpreted by the Western people. And we're going through this long, discussion about it, but that's basically the crux of what is being said in this sentence and in this paragraph, and we could move on to the next part now.
Thank you. So in other words,
yeah,
Margaret Thatcher was wrong when she said there's no such thing as society. There is such a thing as society.
Did she say that? Well, she would say
that was one of her famous statements, that there is no such thing as society, only individuals. That is the position of the right.
That is the Western world of doing things. They do
for
things.
them. So there is no such thing as society. There are only individuals. Well,
that's why we're in the middle.
There is such a thing as society. Brother Pigeon, thank you, Sister Mark. Brother Pigeon, you wanted to say?
I wanted to say that I've checked the Swahili version that I read. It used the word human being, mwanadamu, instead of the word man in the translation.
The word human in my language has a whole different meaning. Is you know that Sister Papoa, there is something called humanism in Zimbabwe. Is that correct? Sister Tapoa?
Sorry, pardon?
Is there such a thing as humanism in Zimbabwe?
Yes.
What is humanism? Yeah, what is it?
It is Ubuntu.
It's Ubuntu.
Ubuntu is a Zulu word for Hunuism. We're now putting it into English so that we're anglicizing it.
Okay, so did you know that the word is also in my language?
Yes, I've learned that.
Now, nyama, the word human in my language is nyama. In other words, the is the original sound. That is the of all creation, is the original vibration. And according to the language, meaning that the human is an expression of that original vibration that constitutes our universe. So the word human comes from that word, which Brother Pigeon has written us. Now, in English, if you want to be pedantic in a way, you could say, some have said that the word human stands for the human beings that have color, or the colored people.
The hue.
Hue, the word hue is color, and so man is a colored man. In other words, the human being that is an expression of nature itself, in the sense that all of nature has color. If you look at the animals, they have color. If you look at the trees, they have color. If you look at flowers, they have color. If you look at fish, if you look at any part of the of nature, you find color. If you look into the human race, there is color, and that color is found amongst Africans. Therefore, we are the human and women. But the word human comes, as I understand it, from that original word, which is found in, as Brother Pigeon has shared, in Swahili, in Zimbabwe, it is in Ghana. It is also in England, in the original inhabitants of England, they also have the religion.
Can I ask a question?
Coming back to the paragraph, hold on. Mr. Marlin wants us to return to the paragraph, so we shall do so in a moment.
Because there are about 6 people who haven't spoken at all.
Yeah, so are you one of them?
I've done my bit.
You've done your
Thank
bit.
you.
Right. Sister Tapua, your comment, and we'll hear from the other 6 people who haven't spoken.
Okay. My question, just a comment I would like to make is, I'm an African with an African mind. You're giving me a text in English. I'm not reading it with an English mind. I'm reading it with an African mind. So, for example, when I read, he showed that he held a belief in the common and equal nature of man. It didn't come natural to me to think of man as in the opposite of women. I just read it as men. So what
men
we
in
say,
what sense? Men as the male species, the male part of the human species. Yeah, but when but as you're saying, Sister Tapua, you may be seeing it that way, but the European is not seeing it that way. That's the point you are making.
But why should we attune ourselves to these Europeans?
Because they dominate Africa at the moment. The IMF, the IMF, as we are speaking, we understand the IMF is trying to impose something on Kenya, as they have in other parts of the world.
And this is why we're saying, maybe before you came in, that when we read Socrates' statement, that if people were not conceited, mistaking their ignorance for knowledge,
which people?
And if they reflected, they would all be equally moral. In other words, anybody, whether black or white, who is conceited, who thinks they know it all, is expressing their ignorance. Because we'll go back to the previous paragraph. Any knowledge he further held was innate. So knowledge is innate. Learning being a way of remembering what was already engraved upon us as individuals. And then I'm going to the paragraph after man. This belief activates Socrates' philosophy. He believes in the...
Sister Tapoa, remember that is one view of knowledge, that it is innate. That is not the universal view. I have been told that other people haven't spoken, and you've spoken quite a few times. So let's hear from other people, and then we come back to you. So who has I don't know who has, Coco just arrived. So I know Winho has spoken. I hear Carrington has spoken. Sister Ida has spoken. Sister Marlin has spoken. Sister Tapoa has spoken. Has Sister Shireen spoken yet?
Sister Shireen hasn't spoken, and nor has Brother Carrington. I thought you said he'd spoken. He hasn't
I was
spoken.
asking. Okay, all right. So,
no, he hasn't.
Sister Shireen, if you are there, speak so that Brother Carrington can come in. Sister Shireen, are you able to speak?
I think we've exhausted this paragraph.
Sister Marlin, it's our tradition to hear everyone share their thinking on a paragraph.
Yeah, but have
it's
they
never
got
exhausted
anything else to add?
Well, you don't know until you ask them. You can't assume they haven't got anything to add. Yeah, so we need to hear from
They're
them.
not even answering now.
Yeah, well,
I have answered actually, Sister Marlene.
Sister Shireen has her mic on. Yes, Sister Shireen, go on.
Yes, what I do is connect my speaker, so sometimes I'll speak.
Sister Shireen, before you speak, do you have anything to add to the paragraph?
What I was saying was that I wanted to sit out on this one because it's quite a complex. It's a complex paragraph. But in answer to the previously, and maybe because I'm in London and the way that we've kind of been taught to read is that you kind of understand when the word says man, depending on who's taught you and how you've been taught, man is just a kind of a universal word.
Yes,
or
the
mankind,
human being, yes.
Or mankind, even though like there's a lot of different gender references nowadays and whatever, but this is an old traditional understanding of text that was always kind of, if it says man, that it would be mankind.
Yeah. Because men wrote it. If women had written, they would have written woman.
Well, perhaps, maybe now more. Maybe not then, because sometimes we are trained to even say man as well as women. But I think on this one, I'm just going to leave it so I can absorb it properly. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
So do I take it that all the highlighted sections are the ones that are what was read today? Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
The highlighted paragraphs are what was read today.
Yes.
And I haven't read it, but
why did we read 2 paragraphs in a row?
There's a lot of things in it. There's a lot in it.
And I understand. So why did we read 2 paragraphs in a row? Anyway,
because they connect. Yes. Is it because they connect and they?
Well, every paragraph connects. So if you want to read on the basis of connection, then we're going to read everything at once and then try to digest it, and which will be very hard. Anyway, thank you very much. Let's go to Brother Carrington, who I understand hasn't spoken. Brother Carrington, by the way, is our resident physicist. If we have arguments about physics, his word is final. Brother Carrington.
Don't saying for the last 1 year.
Do not contradict me.
I will continue by contradicting. Yeah. Anyway, I hope everyone is fine. I guess these paragraphs have been exhausted. I would only add that I would suggest to people to think of the sophists, Protagoras and others, as they think of Sadducees. So Sophists are people who are professional knowledge seekers and believe that there is a high cost to pay in order to be admitted to this bar of knowledge, sort of like you can think of it in the modern sense as a staffy professor. And Socrates in this context is rejecting that. Is rejecting that notion that there is this class of special knowledge that only the sophists can access. And therefore, there comes a class of people called the philosophers, the lovers of knowledge. And anybody can be a philosopher. That's the only thing that I think will help also contextualize this. And this follows for Socrates' views on equality, which I think we have exhausted even in previous paragraphs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let's hear from Coco then, because you've heard. Brother Spala, have you spoken yet? If not, I'll come to you also. Brother Coco. Brother Coco? Okay, if he's not ready, I'll go to General. General.
General's spoken. He said he didn't want to, but
okay.
Gatluk hasn't
yeah,
spoken.
Yeah,
and
Gatluak, can we hear from
Kwame-
you? Kwame God's also hasn't spoken, but Kwame is not here, is he?
No, but there's another Kwame Nkrumah, and then there's Mafanio. He hasn't spoken.
All right. Okay, thank you. Oh, the other brother has just left, so I don't know if the brother or a sister. Fanello, can you unmute yourself and share your thinking, please?
Greetings, kings and queens.
Greetings.
Yes, interesting discussion. For me, it's just, I take it for granted that different generations, they still have to debate certain things. I mean, this is now Kwame writing in his time, reviewing and going through this and reflecting on Socrates and the discussions. To me, it's interesting that today we take it for granted that we're thinking we were born in a time when we shouldn't be discussing this or debating it. It's like given, men have the similar capability given the same condition of knowledge and exposure and expertise. It's just it's not something you have to test or experiment with anyone. So the fact that the people who are highly at the time civilized or referent to, shocking to think at some stage they had to debate these things. As a generation will look and say, it's of course every person, every person, it doesn't matter where you are, just because they've called you a slave, it did not make you inferior. You're still a human being, 100% with brain capacity. You can learn, you can be taught, you can choose your behavior. Everybody has a choice. Everybody can choose. So I think that's my reflection on these things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me come in and well, thank you for that. So, in my years of chairing consensusism classes, both offline and online, we have had people who have come and taken diverse viewpoints. There are those who have come and have just rubbished what we are doing and walked away, saying that they are not really interested in this. Like you are saying that some take that view. And then there are those who have come and have said, what you are discussing, I find it too abstract. I can't handle it. Therefore, please continue. I want to go to a forum where they discuss bread and butter issues, and then they leave. So we've had all sorts. The argument is that apart from the fact that this topic are the content of philosophy in any classic philosophy, these are the content you will read. Apart from that, the argument is that the situation that we face as Africans, in order for us to defeat imperialism and its handmaiden neocolonialism, because we defeated the colonial phase, so that is now gone. But the new phase we are in, which is neocolonialism, is a more formidable enemy, and defeating it is not going to be a walk in the park. Therefore, Africans would need to be equipped at the highest level of thought linked to action. The fact that when we look around, we haven't seen any progress since the Pan-African fathers and mothers passed away. The fact that we haven't seen any progress across the continent is evidence that the leaders that are leading Africa have no clue in terms of thought. Okay, they don't understand, and we say that not as an insult, because we know that Nyerere, who was a contemporary of Nkrumah, said that it took him 10 years to understand what Nkrumah was talking about. Now, this is Nyerere, the Tanzanian leader, saying that, and he is at the head of the Tanzanian government and society, who was championing African socialism, saying that it took him 10 years. So if it took Nyerere 10 years before he realized what Nkrumah was talking about, when you look around the continent and you see all these leaders or misleaders, as someone said, you realize that they have no clue. They have no clue what is going on. No wonder they go to China, 55 of them, and take a picture with the Chinese president. And it doesn't occur to them that there's an anomaly there. So, brother Fanello, what I'm saying is that it is our position in this class, and this is the reason why we are doing what we are doing, is that we want to let Africans know, especially those who want to lead. We want them to know that unless and until they come to the mindset that enabled the African freedom fighters, not just Nkrumah, but all the others, Amilcar Cabral, Nkrumah, and all these Pan-African leaders, both male and female, for them to liberate Africa to where we came to meet it. If we don't go to that mindset, then we cannot defeat imperialism, because imperialism is like an octopus. It's like a monster that plays music that is very enticing, as we read somewhere. So brother Fanello, this is why we are reading what we are reading, and the kind of things we are reading, brother Pigeon, the page has turned round. The kind of things we are reading is actually in the DNA of imperialism, because we don't realize that the West is clear that they got what they have, although it came from the Africans. They are saying that it was Greece that gave it to them. So Greece is their fount of inspiration. That everything they have is from Greece. So Plato stole our stories and wrote them, and that is what they have. And when you go to Western universities, those places where they groom the next leadership, this is what they are reading. This is what they have been taught. So this is why, brother Fanello, we are looking at what we are doing. we are inviting Africans into the mindset to see that if we want to defeat imperialism, we have to know the game being played mentally. And if we don't, then we haven't grasped what it takes to defeat it. So in South Africa, we have, let me just finish South Africa. In South Africa, we have government of national unity. What is that? I mean, what is that? How is that going to advance the African cause? Being a government of national unity with former imperialists and thieves and robbers and brigands and all kinds of how is that going to advance the African cause? You see, so but then that is not surprising, because the leadership, the ANC leadership, you know, perhaps are not properly tuned. So Brother Fanello, this is why we are doing what we are doing. We want to share the progressive Pan-African thought, which is what consensusism is. It's a philosophy for progressivism. It's a philosophy for the progressive kind of Pan-Africanism. As you know, there are three types of Pan-Africanism. There is the conservative kind, there is a liberal kind, and then there is the progressive kind. And the progressive kind, this is its Bible, if you like. And that's why we are reading what we are reading. And that's why we are sharing it, so that the younger generation can be woken up from their sleep. Because
Brother Kwame, there's still two others.
Yeah, as for the older generation, I think we are ready to move on. We failed. We've largely failed, so we are ready to move on. But at least the younger ones can take it up. So, Mfanelo, I hope that helps. That is why we are doing what we are doing. So, thank you for acknowledging that there are people still reading these kind of texts. Thank you.
No, King. I wasn't. Just a quick one.
Yes, please.
Just a quick one. I was not. I love the discussion of the book, Nkrumah's book. So I wasn't reflecting on our discussion today. I'm reflecting on actual Socrates discussion, the thought pattern of what they are writing that time, and then reflecting on what Kwame wrote on his time, reflecting back there. So I'm looking at the three generations. I'm looking at us, Kwame, and Socrates, and saying, I'm just shocked at the level of Socrates that they were still discussing that. Not us. Us, of course, we have to discuss these things. All right. Thanks, Kings.
Mfanelo, then we should then also discuss it in our context. Because in Nkrumah, this book is 1964, so we have to then discuss. So you're right, we then have to discuss in our context.
Yes.
Thank you. Gatluak, please unmute yourself and share your thoughts. So we are sharing our thinking on what is on the screen, on Socrates and his thoughts. Okay, Gatluak
and Kwame Nkrumah, ideological in this, has been on for more than an hour.
Thank you. Gatluak has had problems. He's on and off. I don't know if he's a man or woman, but he's been on and off, so perhaps can't speak. Is that Mr. Gonza? Is that you? KNII?
No, it was someone else.
That's Prince.
Oh, is that Prince? Brother Prince? Yeah, Brother Prince. Brother Prince. Okay, we know where Brother Prince even to be here is amazing because of our brothers.
Yes.
Because of our brothers. I was going to say, brother, where you live, it's even amazing that you are able to be here. And so welcome.
Thank you very much.
That's okay.
I've been wanting to come. I've been wanting to come, but unfortunately, most of the time I'm out. So today I was home, so I decided to join.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Just so you know, Prince, in terms of education in KNII, this is the kind of thing we'll be doing when we start. So
it is great.
I hope you'll be ready to share it when we get there.
No problem.
Yeah,
I
okay.
believe that we learn every day. In exchanging with others, we tend to learn more. So it is good. It is good.
Yeah, thank you. Just so that others are aware. So our brother speaking is the executive director of the Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute. Now, the institute was set up, if you recall, by Nkrumah, and it's been rejuvenated. And our brother is the one that's leading it now. So we appreciate his presence with us. Yeah, Brother Prince, do you want to? I know we are having a session on Saturday, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, but if you care to comment any on the paragraph that we've read, that's fine. Thank you. Carry on.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, when it comes to Socrates' thought of egalitarianism, I think if you look at the society like China, which, despite the fact that you have some of these guys owning factories or industries, you wouldn't see them living in some mansions or villas. Everybody is just living in a flat. So a teacher or somebody owning a factory lives on the 7th floor and then comes down on the ground floor where they all sit to eat breakfast. Unless you talk to someone, unless you are opportune to look into their bank account, if not, you wouldn't know that there's difference among them. So this make the people to think that, or to see themselves being equal. So if we have a society like that in Africa, the Africa we want, where that just the perception or the view, when you look at everyone around, you think that you are equal, not like the present situation where you have people living in mansions and others living in slums. This kind of society only breathe negativity and evil and so on. So if we want to create the Africa we really want, we should go in the line of this equality, trying to, we know that will never be totally equal, but the fair nature where everybody have something with respect to how they contribute in the society or what is the basic that they need, not so in a way like Malaysia instead of like Singapore. If we were to create the Africa we want, it should look more like Malaysia instead of looking like Singapore, where you have very rich people, but others in the societies are very can't even feed themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Brother Glenroy.
Yes, greetings, comrade. Very late. Sorry about that. Just
It's
been listening.
It's not new, brother. Oh, you're listening. Okay, that's okay. Brother Glenroy, since you are here, what's going on? Are there any planned events that you are expecting us to attend?
I'll send you a number of text WhatsApp messages. I asked you to write a few words and to send me a photo. No reply so far.
Oh, so sorry. Is it too late now?
Why, is Sunday going to go away?
It hasn't arrived yet. Good question.
Very good.
It will still be there. So,
Okay.
Just sent out. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Brother Coco. I know you
Thanks,
have your hand
comrades.
up, but we were asking you to speak earlier. Yes, please speak.
Thank you. Apologies. I couldn't at that time and couldn't unmute to say I can't.
I am not accepting your apology. Maybe others have. So it's okay.
Okay. All right. I will make sure I do some whatever it is I have to do to get back into your favor, comrade.
Please,
All
please.
right.
We need your big mind here. Thank you. Please proceed. Thank you.
My mind is small. It's not that big.
Very,
But
very,
I'd
very
like
big.
to introduce my brother if you haven't met
It's
him.
full of
Mfanelo is
Lesotho.
yeah, Mfanelo is my neighbor from South Africa. He's from the
Okay.
ACUP as well, like Kwame Gonza, and
Okay.
he's an organizer there in South Africa. So he is trying to, get the troops rallying the troops to make sure people start thinking in the same direction. But coming back to the text, there are two things here which I would like people to take back. Number one is that equality is mostly safeguarded under socialist systems more than under the capitalist systems. So that egalitarianism is guaranteed under socialism more than under capitalism. And I think what Dr. Nkumo was trying to say was for people to wake up and realize that Africans are intrinsically socialist in nature. Let's not forget that. And with regards to the Europeans, there was that tendency for them to be overbearing on the Africans. In fact, they miseducated the Africans out of being themselves by removing the African identity. It removed the confidence. So what he's trying to say here is, look carefully. Equality was always there. You were born equal. No one can make you equal. You have to remember that. And that's what Socrates is saying here, that all men are born equal. And they should not be, they shouldn't take it for granted that what these other guys are telling them is the truth. And let's not forget, there were times when your skin color was enough to make you dumb, to be seen as dumb. And that's important. So today, again, I attended a session in Lesotho. You find that most of our elders there, they are still holding a lot to Christianity. But what he's doing, Dr. Nguma, is taking what was currently available as the text and using that to his advantage to teach. That's what they're doing in Lesotho right now. They are still clinging a lot to religion, but I think they're taking the good bits out. And I think that's what Mfanelo was doing as well. He knows what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Who has read the Mino story? Has anybody read it? Is anybody familiar? Are we all familiar
We
with
were
that?
told about it. Brother Pigeon told us about it, but no, I haven't read
But
it.
nobody else. You haven't read it. Okay. So, okay.
Brother Kwame.
Yes.
Actually, I only learned of it when I came to this text. So I did a brief reading, but I also decided to attach a whole reading under Mino to all members directly as a document and part of the text. So I believe maybe if they haven't, it's because of time, they might have time also to read it.
Okay. It'd be nice for us all to read it and come back to this. Yes. So thank you for that. So you can see why Socrates was dangerous. You all know that the Americans did not want slaves to be taught to read and write. You all know that, don't you? We all know that, don't we? That the enslaved, proper word, brother Glenroy would correct me if I didn't use the correct term. The enslaved Africans, as you know, whenever it was a law that you don't teach the enslaved to read and write. What is Socrates doing here? Socrates is teaching a slave boy and proving to society that the slave boy has knowledge innate. That's very, very dangerous. You can see why Socrates had to be eliminated. But we'll come to that maybe next week. But it's a very, very interesting story. It's basically saying that even slaves have mathematics, no mathematics, very, very deep mathematics. And the example that Socrates used in the book, Meno, that example is what you are all probably familiar with when you do mathematics in school. and that is the Pythagorean theorem, which says the squares on the two smaller sides of a right angle triangle is equal to the square on the hypotenuse. That is something that everyone who goes to school knows. So Socrates used that to prove that even slaves could do mathematics, which is why he had to be eliminated, because you don't go around teaching slaves that they can be mathematicians. Anyway, the time is 9 o'clock and our time is up. Sister Ida, you wanted to say something?
Well, okay, if we're going to talk about the enslaved, Sister Tapar, at the time that we were talking about this, said that not all enslaved were Africans, because I said I thought of it as African, and she said at that time not all enslaved were Africans. So that would be interesting, maybe the next time we're discussing this.
Okay. You mean historic? You mean historically? Yeah, historically.
Yes.
Yeah, historically, the enslavement of the Africans only happened through the Catholic Church when they gave authorization for. There was a guy called Las Casas, I understand.
Yeah, but what she was trying to say, I had immediately assumed it was an African slave, and she was saying we shouldn't necessarily take it as that it could have been enslavement from.
Yes, and we shouldn't assume that Mino here is an African.
Yes, that's what she was saying.
I hope nobody is thinking that, and
don't think that. So I called him.
And we shouldn't think that Socrates was a white man. I hope we're all not thinking that.
Yes,
Socrates is a white man. Socrates was not a white man. Yes.
Brother Kwame, can I just wanted to explore De las Casas. He wasn't he a priest on the voyage with, was it Columbus?
Probably. I don't know all his history. You might be right.
He actually traveled with Columbus, and he wrote accounts of the harrowing nature of the European and what they were doing as they went on their voyages and stuff like that. But I don't know if anybody could back me up. I might be wrong, but yeah, I'll do a little bit more research into that. But I think that's who De las Casas was, because there's a book called The White Man Inheritance, and they feature him in that book, and he talks about just how they went to Haiti, and the population was decimated within years. They brought diseases and everything else. So as a reference, I think
No, you are right. But Bartolome de las Casas. This one.
Oh, Ptolemy, you're going way back.
Yeah, this is the one you are referring to. So he was a Spanish Dominican friar. Yeah.
No.
That one.
No, he was a Spanish priest who went on the
Spanish
voyage.
Dominican friar. Yes.
Okay.
So
is that who you're referring to, or are you going way back?
I will have to cross-check my story as well, because it's linked with what Brother Pigeon shared with us. Because the story was that the other slaves from other ethnic groups could not handle the weather in the new colonies. So
enslaved,
So a priest said, "Why don't you go for the Africans? They are very strong, and they can do all this hard work." And that is why the American colonists came for Africans, and truly Africans did the work, and America is what it is today because of the enslaved Africans.
Yeah, they went to South America and they couldn't last, and this is written, and then they decided to travel to the continent because they're more hardy and stronger, etc., etc. But as I say, I'll do some research on that, but I think it might be the priest De las Casas.
Yes, as Louis Farrakhan would say, the black man is the original man. So of course he's strong.
Indeed.
And do all that. Anyway, that is it. Brother Pigeon, can you come in and make your announcement and close the meeting, please?
Yes.
Tell us about what's happening on Saturday. And so on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. I've not been able to actively contribute, but it's just one of few things that I'm trying to work on. I'll be okay to contribute maybe come Saturday. But to mention this is that I had shared the memo I did a summary and the book, so please find your time to read it. Is what is referred to as Platonic dialogue. As I've said, it's written by Plato. Meno become the book and also the character. On this coming Saturday, we have decided as a class that will not hold our usual Africa Unification Day, but rather join the conversation of various Pan-African groupings that will be hosting Africa Kwame Nkrumah Earth Day. So in line, we have, of course, this Saturday at around 11 a.m. Ghana time, at 10 a.m. Ghana time, the Kwame Nkrumah Institute of Ideology, together with the Consciousism Study Group and Gava Institute and other institutes, will be hosting Nkrumah Earth Day. I'll be sharing the link to our broadcast list and to all our groupings. In the evening, around 5 p.m. to around 8 p.m., One Map Africa, alongside also other groupings, will equally be hosting the Nkrumah Earth Day celebration. We'll equally, once we get the information, we'll share with members to join and attend to that. On Sunday, the Sunday International Solidarity, of course, were led by part of GSC and other trade unions, will also be hosting Nkrumah Earth Day, and I'll also share the invite link for members to join. Basically, we are allowing our members to join to celebrate the Nkrumah Earth Day in whatever way possible, at your own position, at your own time, at your own house, at your own village. At least just celebrate what Nkrumah did. Because what you are reading today is his legacy, and it still lives with us through his reading. So do your best to celebrate Nkrumah Earth Day in whatever way you can. That will be memorable and that will be inspiring towards pushing forward his struggle and vision for Africa, a totally liberated, united, and developed Africa. Next Thursday, we will continue the reading from where we left it, and I'll be sharing also the links of the previous Saturday, probably by tomorrow. With all that being said, permit me to thank you all for your attendance, and we look forward to engage again this Saturday and next Thursday. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, kings and queens.
Thank you.